So a few weeks ago, we went and purchased this clean 2016 Suzuki Gsxr 750. The previous owner took very good care of this motorcycle. I mean, it had only 850 miles on it, so it was basically brand new. So in terms of maintenance, there wasn't really much for us to do. So the first thing we did was went ahead and added an M4 exhaust. You can go ahead and check that video out here. The next level was to go ahead and upgrade all the lighting. So the kits we ended up utilizing are our new GTR Ultra 2.0 kits. They can be found on our website, which I'll attach in the link below. We also updated the turn signals to LED turn signals. Now, of course, I do not recommend running resistors with LED turn signals. I also do not recommend putting in LEDs and just letting them flash super quick. Like, to me, it just looks ugly, in my opinion. It just does not look good. People are unable to see you. So, and then if you add a resistor, adding a resistor, it just generates extra heat. You're damn well gonna melt something somewhere. So the best thing to do is to upgrade to an LED flasher. One thing to note about installing LEDs or HIDs on these Gsxrs is you will need an adapter. In the install portion of the video, we will discuss that, because without that adapter, that bulb will be bouncing around inside your headlight housing, and you definitely don't want that. Alright guys, so before we get started, I need you to go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. On to the install. Because this motorcycle uses 7506 bulbs, which means that these pins here are offset. You see how these are directly across? On the OEM bulbs, they're offset. So on these Morimoto bulbs, we're going to have to file down one of the pins so that it can fit in there and work properly. Pretty easy, very straightforward. Now comes the fun part. So to access the low beam more specifically, because the high beam can easily be accessed from under here, but to access the low beam and the parking lights, you'll have to remove this screw so that the speedometer or the display can come right out. Once you get it out, just go ahead and pull this rubber grommet off, and there's going to be a harness back there which you have to unplug. Since the peanut bulbs will probably be the most challenging part of the install, I would start with them first. These are the wires that control the peanut bulbs here. It's just a little rubber grommet that holds it in. You just gotta kind of twist it out and the bulb will come right out, and then you can add in your LEDs there. It'll take a little finagling to get it out, but there's a little tab that it has. You can just utilize that and kind of pull it out. Now we're going to go ahead and install the high beam. This is your low beam right here. The high beam is under there, and it's an H11 bulb. Simply turning it counterclockwise will enable the bulb to be removed so that you can install the LED. To access the low beam, we're gonna have to remove that rubber cap and then unplug it. So on the H7 harness, there's a little pin, this little clip here that you push in, and it enables you to pull this little adapter piece out. So these Gsxrs have a very unique bulb setup where the H7 bulb sits in that little adapter and then it plugs into the harness. This presents a few challenges for installing HIDs, or in this case, LEDs. So what you're gonna end up needing is the adapter like this, which is essentially a spacer that allows the bulb to sit within your headlight housing without moving around. In order for that to work, you will have to take apart this bulb, separate the base from the rest of the bulb. Now not all LEDs can do that. However, the GTR Ultra LEDs, they're able to do that. So we can go ahead and just turn this base here. And if you look closely, you can see the pins right there. It disengaged, and we pull it apart from the bulb. From there, it goes into your headlight housing. So you push, this goes into the headlight housing first. Then you have your adapter, which is essentially your spacer. You're gonna put that here. And then the wire, the metal wire clip that's in your headlight housing that retains the bulb will clip across this here. Once you get it clipped across, you now installing your LED. Try to find your slots and turn and lock it in. Now, these little adapters, what we ended up having to do, because it is a little challenging to get it in there to get it to lock. So what we ended up having to do was just file these little points down a little bit. Once it's been filed down and everything is sitting flush, you take your bulb, you push it in, you line it up, and all you do is you turn it in. One thing to note is that once your bulbs are installed, both your high and low beam should be facing just like this. Hopefully you guys can see it. So you see the adapter at the top, the LED base is at the bottom. Now all I have to do is put in my LED bulb, turn it in, and that's it. All right guys, so as you can see, we got the bulb mounted, we got the bracket mounted. I mean, everything is nice and firm the way it should be. Obviously we're gonna wire tie these drivers. I'm gonna try to wire tie them to the factory harness under here so that, you know, it stays out of the way. And obviously do not try to wire tie it here, because this is where your cluster goes. And if you try to wire tie it here, when you try to put your cluster in, it's gonna be leaning, and you don't want that. So we're gonna wire tie all of the wires here and tuck them up under there. The one other thing that we're gonna have to do is, since this rubber grommet has to go here, I want it to sit cleanly over the bulb. So what I'm gonna end up doing is probably trimming a little bit of this little lip here, and then put it on there so it can sit nice and clean. All right guys, so we're all done. As you can see, you know, we put the rubber grommet on, the wire's snaked out, everything is wire tied and tucked away nice and neatly. This one I tucked here, and the other one is tucked under here. I wish I could hide that one a little bit more, but I'm not tripping about it. Now we're just gonna put the gauge cluster back on and we're done.